Welcome to Albion TV's live coverage of the 20v20 Crystal League. Join us for season-long coverage featuring the top 20v20 teams of Albion Online. Today is the 11th of December, 2021. I am your host, The Chosen One, and joining me today are Nomad Poncho on the color commentary and Bogle on the camera. We're gonna watch some 20v20s today. I hope we get some good action. We had a couple of teams who showed up for both matches last week. We will probably get the same teams today, but I'm going to be looking at the tools to see who we have signed up, and we'll try to mix it up if it's possible. How are you doing today, Nomad? We brought you in kind of short notice to fill in today, and you've been doing a great job. You were here for the war report.
Yeah, it was pretty last minute. I had to race through the shower and get myself all prettied up, but I I made it on time.
And very pretty you are.
Oh, why? Thank you. Why? Thank you. It's just nice to reinforce your friends. With those little compliments. Keeps them going. So thank you.
Well,
Thank you.
we did
Thank you.
see some. You're very welcome. We saw some fantastic fan art of you on Friday, and I was really impressed by some the way it captured your essence. Well, I mean, it didn't really. It wasn't photo perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but it really captured the essence
Y-
of who Nomad Poncho is.
I
I was
I
really
think
impressed.
so. I think so. It was just the clothing choices, the obviously the hair color was there. Past that, the similarities. I don't know, but it was definitely enjoyable to see those art entries, and yeah, big shout out to Jason for setting up that art that art competition. For what reason I don't know, but it was definitely enjoyable.
Yeah, I think that you just have a lot of fans out there, so they wanted to show their appreciation. That's all it was. Just have
Oh,
to accept these
it's
things.
it's nice to see in whatever format it comes through. I suppose, no matter how how strange it
How
is.
awkward,
Yeah,
weird.
yeah. You know,
It happens. It happens quite a bit. But we do have some teams signed up. We're going to be following Lasagna Man over here as his team is signed up. He should have an opponent for them as well.
okay. Hopefully, we get a nice little fight here. Then it's been a while. I've done some the 20v20s, but the only ones I ever got pulled in for as a sub were for the level ones. It's definitely not something I'm incredibly experienced in, but I've always loved to watch the 20v20s. It's definitely interesting to see how things get spread around. And obviously all the different metas that come through for trying to capture and hold these points, the intrusive druidic staffs that have been knocking people around and stuff. I don't know actually how the meta's been recently, so it's going to be interesting to see what those storm mechanics they use to capture the points and how the teams rotate.
It is very interesting to see how they play in this 20v20 because it is a completely different tactical game than most other objective-based games here in Albion. With 20 players, you really have the freedom to change your composition and how you want to approach the battle. We see some teams go for an even split. We see most teams go for a 3 or 4 group split with two larger groups, a small, I would say, like a ratting group, and then maybe one last rat to just keep an eye on your back cap and run to scout between your back lines. There are some interesting strategies that have developed. I want to see more good rotations where we see groups that use smaller front lines to scout with a larger rotationary group between. We had seen that tactic developing towards the end of last season with some of the better 20v20 teams, but it didn't like really take on in the meta. So
Hmm.
we'll see
Hmm.
how it goes. But I was really impressed by that when we did see it a few times last season.
Yeah, it is
All right.
interesting to see with these different balance patches that come through of the creative ways that people come up to shift around these rat teams. It's yeah, we'll see what happens through with this one. So what are the two teams we have here chosen?
Well, right now I'm still waiting to find out who we have as I'm on the Magical World Tour. Haven't even gotten into the Crystal yet.
We're
Currently
on
in Arthur's Rest.
Lasan Haman and they are fighting against Newbie.
Oh.
Interesting.
Really? Oh, Newbie?
I am Newbie, yeah.
Yeah, okay. I thought you meant newbie, like as in the alliance. Okay, no, I am a newbie. Is they have a full group, I believe, for their team signed up. These are the only two teams that signed up for level 4s today,
Okay.
which is kind of shocking. We had seen a different team signing up and doing quite well. Hopefully, we'll get to see these two teams again in level 5s.
So obviously a big damage comes out from those wildfire staffs. The two meatballs rolling across there and doing some good early damage, and the great axe that's going in doing what they can. A lot of the frontliners we're seeing quite regularly in plate armor as well, obviously to help them with that that sustain up front. We've got some decent Abadagger damage there in the back line, but looks like it's not going to be able to commit to actually getting a kill off here. And we do have our first death here on the choke by the looks of it, with the meatball rolling over the still warm corpse.
No, poor Pele. He's going back to 10.
It's been interesting as well with those new fire Qs doing a hell of a lot of damage for the poke as well, and the sheer range they have is absolutely insane.
Yeah, we
in a bit of trouble here, and an execute coming through to finish him off on the choke there. That's their carving sword down, so a big part of their initiation there, but they're still holding the choke relatively well. Looks like we have Mint here in a lot of trouble. Is he going to be able to survive? We've got the Grave Guard. Oh, okay, yes, we have the heals coming out of the nature there. Underneath Adjudicator armor to keep him alive, which is brilliant to see.
And we see some good members on this team from I Am Newbie, and it's good to see them back out. We see Scoliosis. We just saw Rorbit over here. We saw a lot of really good players out here today, so we'll see what goes on. They say.
So it looks like BYOT are pushing down pretty hard on them here, and they're having to pull down through the eastern staircase here. Great stun on that choke. Great follow-up with the frost out, and then the great access comes through. Again, great saves coming out, though. Amazing to see that great holy drop down the firewall to prevent a further push. Good use of the defensive rotation there to keep everybody alive.
I'm actually kind of impressed by how even these two teams are. We've been watching this blue team for a few weeks now with most of the same team. Actually, for quite a while now. A lot of the players on the red team seem to be newer to the level 4s. We have seen most of them around before. A lot of them are very familiar with the format. We'll see how they do. I mean, it's very even right now at 2 caps apiece, 192, 190. That means they're separated by 1 single kill, and that is it.
And it looks like they just can't capture this middle point either. Ooh. Is Noon going to survive? No, when he falls down again to the Great Axe there. I mean, they're still doing a good job here. Although I would say that BYOT seems to be doing a little bit better at taking down the opposition here. They're not managing to capture that point. It is getting interrupted each time. So we're still sat here at 2-2 apiece.
Yeah, this is not generally how this goes. Usually it's very quick that a control point is taken here. Like, well, control is taken by one of these two teams, and one is fighting an uphill battle, losing 20 points around. But this is very interesting. This is more similar to what we see in the 5s, where often it comes down to that last
Ooh, and a great execute coming out. Yeah, it's
we've had prolonged middle battle. Yeah.
We've had a great it's a great mixture of damage here. It seems that BYOT have some better kind of persistent damage that they keep pushing down, whereas the opposition here is definitely getting some great damage off with those meatballs coming out, but it's just not going to be enough by the looks of it. Barely keeping alive, but they are keeping alive. Again, we've got the tank here. Alan just no health, but pushing back in, confident in his healers, confident that they're going to keep him alive here as he sits to keep the opposition away. Oh, it was almost an execute coming out on Rorbit, but he managed to survive.
Rorbit fell earlier. Doesn't want to keep losing those. Graf goes down there. Another very skilled player for the red team.
Eng, I always love watching the pressure.
He's going to get hit
fights.
with the execute. Yes, he does. Engs goes down to Rorbit.
I think it's always interesting with the pressure you see here. You know, it's one of the things you get with these higher levels of play, where usually, obviously, you see a lot in the open world. People get low health, they panic, and they start to run away. But in these 20v20s, people know they have to commit. They have to trust in their healers. They have to trust in the tanks to keep the pace going.
And very interestingly, the red team went for a split push here. Took both west and east caps. Nobody has claimed the middle yet, and they were able to get the rotation in their favor. 20 points for them, and now red team is up 157 to 182.
And they also seem to have a lot of pressure coming here through the mid as well. I take it that's because they've diverted some of their attention just to get that northwestern cap back. And obviously that's landed quite a lot of pressure to them in the middle, but I don't think they're going to be able to capture it. They're going to go for the capture here, but I'm going to guess that's going to be interrupted.
Is going to be here. Yeah, Lasagnaman's got
there
that. No problem.
But still that northwest cap shows no sign of being taken back again.
No, I haven't seen any pressure over there. Most of the blue team's pressure is centered on the middle cap. There is a team on the west with ruined experience, Imagini, Beluga,
We'll see here. They have a lot of momentum. If they're going to be able to push some of these down here, then they're definitely going to be able to take this middle cap and balance it out. We've got the capture going now. It's about halfway through, and they're just sweeping up the rest of the red team here.
That's actually not going to matter. They're still going to continue to lose those points. They've got to get 2 caps at this point or retake one of the caps that has already fallen to the red team to stop them from gaining points.
Middle point is almost captured, and it looks like blue do have it now. Yep. Okay, now so I imagine... Oh, wait, the southwest point. Oh, no, it wasn't being captured. So the northwest here, I guess, is going to have to be their focus here to try and recapture that. And then if they can maintain the same level of pressure they had before on middle, then it should put them in good stead. But they do have to take back this northwest point to be able to regain that ground.
And they have overcompensated over on the western point. They are pushing with more than 5 against the 5 who are here. They are cleaning it up. They've gotten Iron Gauge. They've gotten Rot. They've got Barcode on the ropes. They pushed back. Ochiwan and Uwu Girl are back on the far north step, giving some space for Huga Labuga to try to take that cap. He's got to get Barcode out of his back line, though. And they've got 2 Barcodes. It makes it a little hard to keep up.
It does. But Barcode's getting pretty heavily punished for that. With the healer there looking like, oh no, he's still going to get the heal through there. But probably going to be able to hold it here, but we did get the recap on the northwest, and we have the middle cap. So that's now a shift in the power here. But 123, 162, can they maintain that middle point with what they have?
There was a very interesting situation that happened. Almost went to red at middle, but Lasagna Man came back in and was able to interrupt that with Pele is back, but they are paying for it now. Relicer, Pele going down, Lasagna Man going down. And we have a situation where red is going to be able to take the center as they have their opponents, blue, pushed all the way back to both lower staircases as we see Eliton go down as well. Red cap coming up in center. Red cap coming up on the west. This could turn into a very rough situation for blue.
It really could. And that's one of the things.
Ruined goes in. I'm sorry, Ruined went in and made sure they weren't able to take that western cap. He's probably going to pay with his life on the way out here.
We're on Huga Beluga right now, watching the northeastern cap. Look like he's rotating around to the southeast to try and help with the blue capture of the southeastern point. We have Haman coming down there too, trying to deny the engage. So it looks like they're actually going to be able to rotate. They have caught the southeast there as well now. They have a lot of forces spread out on this east side, pushing back the red. But obviously, it's the redistribution of those forces that matters so much in these fights. Can they get this to where it needs to be to transition and take that middle point back and then hold and maintain the 3 points? They're right down now to 67 over 155. They're not in the best spot, but it's definitely still got some potential here.
Yeah, blue needs to make a push here quick, and they do have the numbers on center, just barely here. And they do have, I would say, the damage push as well as Puli goes down. And yeah, I don't see a lot of openings here now. That closed up real quick. Blue is in trouble.
Very difficult.
Yeah.
The amount of people that are here
so fast when you have them. Like, you can see the kill pressure opportunity, and if you don't get it in the next 5 seconds, somebody else is going to come in and save that man. And that's what we saw there. Lasagna Man now on the back step as blue team are fighting for their lives here. This is it. They have a couple of rotations left, but with how many people you lose during each rotation for both teams, you can't get down too low. Once you get down to that 27 point, ooh, it gets really
That's going to be an execute here on the red team healer, which is going to put them in a bit of a bad state. So maybe they can do something here in middle. But again, every moment that they have here in middle that they don't capture the point, they are losing their state of game. I mean, they've got 3 points up against them right now. If they can't capture the middle point here, or at least the northwestern point, then they're really not going to be able to make any ground back. Looks like they managed to push everybody off. If they can recapture,
they're losing the eastern cap. They did resecure it, but now we have 2 men from red, Sapuli coming in along with Azazaz.
Huge damage coming out for those trying to delay that cap, but that's all they have to do. That's all they have to do is delay that middle cap, and as long as they can do that, it's fine.
Yeah,
but
you
obviously,
can
if they're
sacrifice
investing
yourself at this point.
Yep. But if they're giving up those deaths and they can't get back to reinforce in time, it could work out for them in a bit of a bad way. Looks like the blue cap is going to be taken for the mid here, but again, they've lost southeast, so they don't have southeast right now.
And this is a situation where I talked about, once you get down to this low number of points, and they went from 27 or 28 down to 22 real quick there, and now they're in a real bad spot.
There is really no room
is
for
11 kills. Yeah, it's 11 deaths, and you have to, even if you're getting 20 points a rotation, that would be 7 rotations. That's 14 minutes. I don't see that with 22 live. You'd have to get double rotations at 40 points. And right now, blue just doesn't even have an option for one cap, let alone two.
No, it's a tall ask to be able to recap and keep those deaths under control here, especially with Red here having 138 to lose. I mean, they can just dive on in and just delay those caps at this point, and all they've got is 70 seconds to stop that from happening. I don't see it happening at this point. I think maybe they've lost too much ground already.
Yeah, I agree. I think this is going to be a rough position for Blue at this point. With 3 people still like sacrificing themselves over here on the Eastern cap, I just don't see it. But as that happens, Western cap starts to flip, but Barcode number 3 comes in and stops it. Pele is back, still going for that cap. He does have a little bit of time here. Is he going to make it? No, he got snagged.
Again, they just have way too much pressure here on the south side. The east, the middle point just is not an option at this point. Far too easy for them to get people to interrupt it, and they're just having too much trouble here on the northwest with being able to commit to the cap here. So it looks like that might be game, set, and match in 24 seconds.
Yeah, I'm bouncing between these, and you can see east goes, west goes, east goes, west goes. But the opportunities that they had, there was a really close one on west, but Barcode over here was able to save it. He is the champion of this round in the last few moments, securing victory for his team by stopping Pele is back here. And now we see the middle go as well. Graf gets that. That is it. That's match.
And there's the defeat. I mean, that's the nice thing about the Great Hammer. Obviously, you have that mobility to be able to get in and get out again and just keep those interrupts going. And he did a great job there, cutting back, and the healers did a great job of picking him up and just allowing him to keep doing that again and again and again.
And that was, yeah, absolutely. That's 100% true. And I want to say that it was overall a much better match than I was expecting from the red team. They came in and they just took it. Very well done. Impressive fight.
Very balanced start. I did not know which way that was going to go to start with. There was a good back and forth, but then obviously once that momentum goes, then it goes hard in 20v20s.
Well, what happens is the pressure gets put on you. We talk about this pressure in fives as well. Once you start bleeding points, you're the one that is forced to make the play. The other team can play defensively and get the victory while still losing players. So they can sacrifice 2 or 3 guys on a point. And still, as long as you don't get the time to channel it, they have won. Whereas if you're sacrificing 2 or 3 guys to try to get the point and you're not getting it, you're taking huge losses.
Yeah.
But we still have about 17 minutes until our next match. So we do have a little bit of time to kill. We had another dev talk come out yesterday. I don't know if you, or not yesterday, the day before, on Thursday, I believe. I don't know if you got a chance to see that yet, about the quality of life updates with the Lands Awakened. I know you've experienced them, as I'm sure you are using the quick buy system right now.
Yes, I am. The quick buy system has been absolutely incredible, honestly. Like, just be able to throw a set on, know that you're going to be using that set again and again, especially for places like 2v2 Hellgates, 5v5, 10v10, or even Corrupted Dungeons, just to know where you're in those situations where you might go down. Being able to just instantly buy your set and get right back into the action afterwards, it really just saves on the downtime in gameplay, because having to go to the auction house when you fall, I mean, obviously we already had the system in place for being able to re-gear on the loadouts, which I've thoroughly enjoyed. But then once you're down and you don't have that anymore, if you're waiting on buy orders to be fulfilled and everything else, in the meantime, being able to go there and just insta-buy everything you're wearing, it's been fantastic. Honestly, I very much enjoyed it.
Yeah, I like it because I don't have to have gear already set up in my bank in every city. Now, like, I can just go wherever my friends are playing and just go to that city, go buy gear real quick, and then just do whatever, and not have to worry about, do I already have gear set aside? And then the going to buy it. I'm a very slow purchaser. Bogle knows this. and being able to do it quicker, is a big time saver. And I do love that it lets you know when something is out of line financially with a big giant red mark.
Yes, which is always useful. Yes, yeah.
Like
many people have fallen foul.
Noticing this. I need some kind of mechanic to tell me what I'm doing wrong. And red is a really good indicator that you're doing something wrong. So when something says it's 750% over the average, you don't have to buy it. You can hit that little check mark.
That's it, and hopefully this helps. I mean, I've seen a few of my streamer comrades have fallen prey to the 18 million silver poison pots that they bought by accident, and then realizing afterwards. It's always great to see those moments of transition on their face, of that realization to just sheer dread after they've lost it. Perfectly displayed here by Chosen. Yes, it's great. It's great that you have those options. I know one thing that the community is asking for a lot of, though, and that's a similar system. A similar system with the green ups and red downs and stuff for insta selling your inventory. That's one of the next things I think the community's after. Is a system very similar to this, where you can be able to everything in your inventory. It has a list there with the silver, maybe that you know are below average when you're selling something above average. The ability to adjust everything together, or things one by one, just to be able to quick sell. And I think that's the next feature that the community is really hoping for. So just to throw that one in there. But I love that we're getting there. You know, all these systems that just save us time, all these things that players have wanted. You know, since the whole meme around the use all button. It's just nice to see us finally get all these quality of lives that just make our gameplay easier and just let us get right back into the action. Especially important since this update, where so much combat is happening all over the world.
Absolutely. And there are already updates going in for this system in the near future. Right now, there's a current scam going on where people are buying out the flat versions of common gear and then putting up incredibly expensive versions of it.
Oh.
And the way that the tools work now is it buys the lowest quality item that you have set up in your quick buy, not the cheapest version. So now, so if the cheaper version is like outstanding or excellent, it won't go buy that for you. It'll tell you need to buy that $6 million or 6 million silver cleric robe. That's what you want to buy. The 6 million flat 6 cleric robe. That's what you want.
Yes, I'm hoping to see some customization there with being able to select your priority. If your priority is matching IP, or if your priority is having the cheapest similar tier. That would be very nice to be able to see. Even if that ends up spanning across, for example, you know, do you want a tier 6? Do you not need the skills from tier 6? So could you do, in fact, with a 4.2? That's the same thing. So I mean, it's nice to see, and obviously SBI pays attention to these things, and it'll be fantastic to see if these change.
There was actually on the Reddit somebody reported that problem, and first asked if that was a bug, and Nesnes actually went ahead and commented and said that they are aware of that, and with patch 1 going live next week, they will try and fix that. So
fantastic.
If there's a cheaper, higher quality version, then you get that as a suggestion instead.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. There's already changes going in very quickly, and this is what I love. I love that this game, while sometimes things don't come out perfect, they continue to improve it with every update. And how many hot fixes did we have in the first 2 weeks there, Bogo?
6, I think.
6, and then we have a patch coming up this next week.
Yeah, yeah.
Not too shabby. Not too shabby. I'll take it.
No, it's good, and I've liked seeing these combat changes coming. Obviously, the war gloves have been released, and I think the way that they've gone around it this time, it's been nice seeing them come out with a weapon that they've tried to be careful with it. Obviously, war gloves had the potential with how intrusive they were with all the knockups and knockbacks, not to make them too strong, but I think they've realized that perhaps they're a little too lackluster right now. So we're getting some nice kind of independent buffs to these things. And I like where the balancing is coming from, honestly, with all these kind of incremental changes coming through just to improve on stuff. And I'm personally very much looking forward to the war gloves. I think some of them are going to be quite scary, especially with some of the rather large cooldown reductions we're seeing. Brawler gloves, the ease going from 20 seconds to 15 seconds. I mean, that's going to be insane.
That's a lot of interruption right there. Yeah, that thing's going to be really cool to see. There seems to be like across the board a bump to the war gloves. I think there's like one glove that's not getting improved, and it'll be interesting to see how many iterations of these we get over the next season. Because I think you're right. Retroman is going to take small steps to build each one of these up, rather than have a situation where they come in, be overpowered, and screw up all the work that's already been done with the balancing of so many other weapons. Bring these in slowly. Let them adapt their way into the meta instead of just show up there and being the most powerful items in the game.
That's it, yeah. One of the big changes we can see on their screen now, having a base HP value. I think that was something that was super important to them to add to the War Gloves, because obviously they are a melee weapon. You do have to be in
Yes.
the mix of things, and you're not able to have an offhand. You're quite limited to how you can build with them. So having that extra HP really helps you survive. The 3-hit attack change is probably not something a lot of people have really got into, but some of the War Gloves, instead of having that kind of 1-2 punch combo where you just keep throwing out hands, the 3-hit attack change, you did a punch to the left, a punch to the right, and then this kind of delayed punch that felt a little bit too awkward for a lot of people. It kind of interrupted the flow of the fighting, and it's hard to weave autos in around the rest of your skills. So with them speeding that up, for the time factor there, basically it just makes it feel a lot more fluid as a weapon, which is
Mhm.
fantastic to see, especially there with the canceling of the third attack, by just being able to move around and not be so committed to that kind of slower auto. And then obviously just a few little other buffs we've got to create opening, dragon leap, cross step, just some minor little changes there that were quite needed. The big one that I'm excited for personally is the backhand strike is changing around. Any one of you that have maybe used War Gloves already will know it's
Mhm.
been a single target ability where you just kind of knock somebody back. If they hit a wall, they take extra damage and they lose resistances. But now it's going to spell almost like the quarterstaff has, for the rising blow, I believe it's called, where you have that little knock up. You have a similar kind of range ability that's now a knockback AOE. So that means with the Wargloves, you're going to
Okay.
be able to feel extra powerful in just knocking everybody in front of you back, slam them against the wall. They take more damage, they lose resistances. And one interesting combo I think is going to be nice there is actually going to be the Shockwave ability, where you send out that Q, you connect it with somebody, then you go for the W, on the brawler gloves there. That knocks everybody back into a wall. They lose resistances. You use that Q to fly towards your enemies and follow up with an E, knocking them all into the air and doing a lot more damage because of the resistance loss. And then you can go through for a Q again. So I think we're going to have some devastating combos coming up here with just a lot of the war gloves. To be honest with you, I'm really excited to see how this goes.
That sounds like it'd be very interesting in castle fights.
Yes, yeah. I mean, castle fights. Yeah, the knockbacks are available there. Obviously, we do have night helmets and stuff, but it is a very low cooldown
Mhm.
ability. So it's going to be interesting to see kind of what people can do with that, especially with the spiked gauntlets having their damage for cloth and leather improved, and also the either having the slow and everything on it as well. It could be very interesting to see somebody go in with that, knock everybody back,
Right?
fly in towards them, and then with that pierce, just shred them
That's
all with that
when,
damage
yeah,
and slow.
like everybody comes in after that because you have all
Yeah.
those really good ranged armor breaks, but like getting a
Hmm.
nice one in that you can do that has a bit of a knockback as well, and hit those
Yes.
pierces and then follow them up while you already have your melee in their lines would be really cool.
It's
You're
just
gonna
nice
need a
seeing
few
another
of these
melee
guys.
utility weapon, I think, and that's what the Warglows are. I think they have good damage, but they're also like really a melee utility weapon. We haven't really had a lot of that, right? For our brawler builds, you've got
Mhm.
axes which do damage, swords which typically do damage. I guess you have the utility of the carving sword, but the utility of an execute, they're all damage focused. Whereas the Warglows now kind of have all these abilities to help you control a fight from right in front of it, with all of the other people at the front. So I'm very excited to see that playstyle come through, and what it offers. Things, yeah, like the castle fights, the 20v20s, potentially things like 10v10 and 5v5. I don't know what impacts or what gloves we're going to have, but the balancing will leave us to tell, I guess.
Yeah, I like I said, so far I have found them to be a little underwhelming. I'm looking forward to
Hmm.
seeing them each buffed and starting to see different ones get into each part of the game's meta. So far, there's rumors that we might see a little bit of play in 5v5s, and now you just described something that I think would work great in ZV. Well, specific types of ZVZ. I don't think this is going to work in your standard ZVZ
No, yeah,
build, but if you're taking a territory, if you're taking a castle, that could be really interesting because it's tight areas, which
that's
these
it.
gloves
That's it.
work
Yeah.
in perfectly. They work really good in the tight areas, and I think you could really find some fantastic uses of them. In about 5 minutes, we have another match starting. So I'm going to take a look and see if anybody has signed up. But in the meantime, I have a raffle open. Guys, enter the raffle. We're going to pull a code right before this next match and then another one at the end of it before we transition to the 5v5s.
Nomad, I have a question for you. Have you seen the new
What?
statue on the test server yet?
The new
From
statue.
yeah, the Energy Surge season winner statues.
I don't believe I have. No.
Because with the season coming to an end, there's usually the transition or the tradition to get a statue into the Conqueror's Hall. But with
Yes.
the Energy Surge season being a shorter standalone season, apparently the guilds got to choose where to place them, and the Lonely Man put them in Red Tree Enclave.
Oh, interesting. Okay, so these are just going to be placed in the open. Oh, wow. Okay, that's
Yeah.
very interesting. So these are big open world statues that we have in place. Oh, that's incredibly interesting.
The first one is custom. The second and third place, a little smaller, like the one in the Conqueror's Hall. But this one is a hog rider with a Jody armor, with it looks a little bit like Slayer Hater with a two-handed hammer there. Pretty badass.
Yes, the Avalonian hammer, I believe, the GK armor. Yeah, no, it's that's definitely pretty awesome. And that is definitely a brave little pig for being able to carry such a weighty man there with this armor and the hammer. But yeah, that's interesting to see. As a nice little touch, I guess, to add those things in just for the for that short season.
Gives you a weird reason to explore the world more, does it? Like, let's look at this thing in Red Tree Enclave in person, right? Not just on a screenshot, but go out into the world and see it.
That's dangerous, Bogo. We had some recommendations for that. And I imagine that, Nomad, you probably have some recommendations how to cheaply go out and do a little exploring without risking too much and getting yourself murdered for no reason.
Yeah, I mean, the standard from a lot of people seems to be that you go out naked on a tier 3 horse and you ride around and hope that nobody bothers you. But obviously, if you want to do anything in the open world, I mean, yeah, as long as you have the Reaver level, these mobs aren't so difficult. A lot of players won't bother. I mean, I say a lot of players won't bother. Some players, it doesn't matter if you're in tier 3 or if you're in 8.3, they will hunt you down with the same amount of vigor and vitriol. They don't care. Some players are out there for blood, and if they see you, they're gonna try and take you down. So it's really just a matter of what you want to risk when you're going out to the Outlands. Do you take a pretty cheap set and that just allows you to do what you're going out to do, or do you take a more expensive set to try and flex on people and maybe allow you to do a little bit more? And is that worth the risk of what you're bringing out? There are always the questions you have to ask yourself in Albion Online. And really, the base of that is just up to you. How much do you want to risk, and how much do you think that rewarding? And there's a big amount of discovery that comes in with that. And that discovery is often taught the hard way, with a few regrettable deaths.
Yeah, you do see that. Lessons are learned the hard way in Albion. I think that's why we have shows like the New Player Show. Try to teach you some of those hard lessons without making you learn them yourselves.
Exactly. It's AoE teaching, It's trying to spread the message out there without you having to take it on single target all by yourself.
Chosen. What are you reading?
I'm reading Magic Mark's explanation of what 16x13 means. Apparently, it's short for Project Mayhem, as 16 is represents P and 13 represents M.
Huh.
How?
Okay.
I think I'm going to need an infographic for that one to be explained. I'm not too sure about that.
Okay.
A, B, C, D, E, F, G.
Why do I feel like you're counting the alphabet on your hands? I
was.
And the 13 B A.
But do you know the 16th letter of the alphabet? Do you? 16 is P, 13 is M.
Not off by heart, to be honest with you. No, that's not something I have to reference. That's a fair point.
I do know that P is 3 letters later than M.
So I guess that kind of works.
Okay. Close, okay. And I sent you the infographic, guys.
Wow. That's a creative way to come up with a guild name that nobody will ever get.
P Mal says in chat there, this explained we're more confused. So yeah, great. We've done a good job.
Well, Bogle, throw up the conversation that Mark sent me between him and Fred.
Oh, we're already going into the match.
Match is on. Sorry. We're out of time.
Oh.
Do you have a name?
And let's see. A level 2. We have. Yeah, I'll get you a name. I Engage or Roarbit 2.
There we go.
Okay, and here we go. 8 seconds left to start the fight off. We're starting on I Engage for this perspective.
We probably have to switch off because it's a fire.
Yeah, I'm going to get a tank.
Yes, yeah.
I'm on
So we're getting that first
Rorbit
cap in.
2, and he's actually using the spiked gauntlets.
Oh, interesting.
And
So, yeah.
Mint is our tank. So I will put those up in chat for you guys to switch over for POV.
So yeah, for those of you that don't know, the Spike Gauntlets definitely a great combination with Soldier Armor, as they do good damage and great CC with a slow, offering a 75% slow on plate players, 50% slow on leather players, and 25% slow here on cloth users. So again, given that we see most of the front line in these 10v10s in plate, I was thinking that these were going to be a very good choice here. Obviously, I had a Soldier Armor Purge, so didn't do a crazy amount of damage, but that slow does still hold effect.
And I'm drawing
exchange of
that
early
raffle
damage.
from before.
Almost losing the healer here, but just managing to hold on. No, and there goes the death. So we are losing one healer here on the blue side, putting us down to one Great Holy, it looks like, and a Blight Staff to keep them up. And obviously they're losing that pressure with losing a healer. Great Holy's coming down to heal up some of this pressure being applied to them. Did a great job of resetting, and Rorbit's being picked up now as well with this Blight Staff coming through. Great Axe in the backline again, though, just so much pressure coming out of the Great Axe. It's definitely very punishing, but a huge amount of damage back. Again, instantly healed up. The triple kick coming out from Rorbit here to try and push back some of this pressure.
I gotta say, it's really fun to watch these War Gloves in action here.
It really is.
As a mauler here, as a frontline tank.
Oh, losing Scoliosis there, unfortunately, but it's really the utility. I think that in the hands of a skilled player, the War Gloves have a lot of potential to be incredibly intrusive. And we had that slow coming out there on top of the Sacred Ground, especially combined, which is a 20% slow. We saw almost their tanks here grind to a halt with the stacking of that 75% slow and the 20. Now, it doesn't stack perfectly. There is some diminishing return there, but it was obviously very impactful here. We see our tank pulling back with Avalonian armor here on the Morgana Raven. Good damage combo coming down, but the execute didn't quite manage to finish. The Spike War Gloves coming out again for that insane slow in with the artillery fire from the Fire Staff. A great little combination there. And now the Wildfire E coming out, stopping short on that staircase, unfortunately, and not being able to roll through the back and do a lot of damage, but they have built up some incredible pressure here, which they're now able to follow through on.
And
Great Axe, though, again.
Very effective as positioning for the opponents there. When you can knock back their front line into your DPS, so you split them away from your tanks. Very interesting plays here. I like what we're seeing here. Really decimating front line positioning.
I really think that's what I'd like to see on the War Gloves in here, honestly, is just that knockback on the helmet. I think that would really add to the intrusive kit here. Being able to kidnap with triple kick and then bop someone back as well, I think would be incredibly punishing for that, just putting somebody out of position.
Absolutely.
So we see the Wildfire coming
totally
out.
correct on that. We've seen other tanks use that in the past. Cargera was a big fan of using the Bop Helms and would go crazy, even using a Purity for just the extra IP power.
Lobby going down here on the Sacred Ground. Again, it's just so punishing now. Oh, and a big return, though, again, with the Spiked Gauntlets and the artillery fire in the queue. It's really great seeing these War Gloves in play here and what you're able to do with them. And definitely with them being buffed next patch, that's going to be incredibly scary, I think.
But I got to give some credit to the red team there with their defensives that they threw down under a very bad situation there. It really looked like Blue was going to be able to clear out their front line there. Absolutely fantastic defensives and support plays right there.
Just picked everybody back up again, and that's one of those things with these healers. Is I really feel like in these matchups you get to feel that value as a healer. You know, when you or as a support, when you push back the damage dealt and you're able to turn it around with your team, always satisfying to see.
Absolutely. And I gotta say, I really enjoy watching these gloves. It's a very different perspective than we've seen before. We've never really gotten one of these brawling gloves onto the show before. So seeing them in live action here is good to watch for the first time.
It definitely
is. Knock up. Where's the follow-up? Oh, actually, great supports. Everybody is fine.
Yeah, a big back and forth there in terms of damage.
Blue. Yeah, I really thought Blue had it there. They had some really good CC plays, but the support by Red has opened up a position for them, and they're taking down a number of Blue players. Really good counter plays here.
And they seem to have the team here from the southeast coming up for this corner fight to reinforce with it and putting a lot of pressure on the Blue team here. But again, they're on top of that choke. They have that advantage here, and they're taking down a couple of the Reds and punishing them for really stacking up there on that corner. Great Axe just does so much damage, though, and unfortunately we have one of the Blue dying off here.
Yeah, and the Blue's going to have a hard time here, as it looks like Red was able to get the third cap over here on the east. They had really held Blue up in that choke for a very long time, stopped them from getting additional men down to the eastern corner. And now Blue's got to do work to take out some red players and make some space here.
That's it. I mean, and their quick entry to that midpoint is from the southeast side here, and obviously from the northwest, they have to go all the way around to the southwest side to get into it, which obviously makes this the really important side for Blue Team to be able to break through to reinforce middle and to hope get a chance of getting the southeast cap back if they want it. But obviously they hold the northwest right now, so I guess their focus would probably be on middle point here, but I'm not sure what's happening up there.
Well, I think Blue is trying to take the eastern cap here because of just positioning right now. It's often easier to go ahead and take the middle from the top position rather than taking the mid. Sorry, taking the eastern rather than the mid, because the mid can be reinforced very easily by red. But okay, as I'm saying that, Blue takes both west and center. We're over here.
Wow. And they have a lot of pressure here on the east too.
And they've really just gone, and I'm going to go see who did that and how they pulled that off. Wow, that must have been a nasty rat over on the west, because Red's got the numbers over here, pushing them all the way back up to the top northern western staircase, all the way at the pretty much the northern peak of this map now, as they're pushing them clearly to tent.
Huge amount of pressure here too. We did see the Stalker Hood come out on the spike gauntlets there and get some good damage pressure in, and now we see these two Wildfire Staffs just flinging out Qs here, ready to throw the E's down at a moment's notice. Ooh, Carving Sword come through and did some pretty big damage to the healer, but they weren't able to turn on it and actually clap off it, apart from right there. Interesting change of pressure. Honestly, the supports on both sides is doing a great job at picking everybody back up from these low points of health.
Absolutely great plays by healers. We keep preaching, get the supports on your team, use supports. Supports are important, and here you see the advantages of using good supports.
Looks like Noon pushed a little deep in there and got punished for it, knocked down the stairs there, and unfortunately got killed, and now they're losing a little bit of the pressure that they had, forcing back east. But again, Spike Gauntlets coming down, taking down a member of the red team here.
Yeah, and Blue also losing a few here in the choke, as
that was
Red
a nasty
very
combo.
good engages, putting huge pressure on their frontline. Rorbit and Sipuli have to run, and they're going to be just taking that quick trip along with Lobby to 10.
That's it.
As Red, just incredible push all the way up through the center, takes a 4-cap advantage with 18 seconds left. This is going to be a big one. Over on the west, though, we do have a push by Blue, taking the cap. They may limit some of this damage. Ochiwan all alone, nobody near him, takes the cap. Very good plays over there by Blue. Rot Barcode and Uwu Girl making the play against Huga Booga and Ruined Experience.
And they're still trying to gain traction, I guess, from this this choke hit. They brought everybody back over to it now. Again, that was just an absolutely devastating push there with the CC, the Carving Sword Pierce, and the Great Axe just chopping up everybody. Again, will be interesting to see with the momentum of the Great Axe changing next patch, how that still falls into effect. But something that combos especially well with, for example, the Spike Gauntlets, like hitting off a slow and then following that up with damage. Just so much potential here.
Yeah, potential is one thing, but execution is another. And right now, Red is executing the players in Blue. They have them completely pinned up against the back staircases, and it's very difficult for them to come back. Of course, the internet tries to prove me wrong. Somebody is capping center. Are they going to get it? Lasagna Man can't get there in time, and Blue does get it. Amazing play there. Red not being on the ball there, watching for their caps in the center, and they just let that one go to a small group while they were paying too much attention on the eastern side.
That really could have been the turnaround point for Red here, allowing them to equalize their points a little bit. But if they can't reclaim that in the next 47 seconds here, they're definitely going to fall a little bit further behind than as we talked about before.
They're losing eastern cap as well here, Nomad, and it looks like they're going to lose it, as I just see one guy, Casinio, all alone. He's going to die over there, doesn't even get the interrupt, and this is a bad place for Red to be in.
And there's the 4-cap with 27 seconds in, and I think it looks like they might secure it unless middle can change hands here, which is looking like it's trying to, but it's just not going to happen.
No, I don't see enough pressure here to make that happen at the moment. There's enough people around to break it up. Or not. Noon is dead. Here comes Sipuli. He misses the skill shot, and Red takes it. Gonna be a 20-point cap instead of 40. Giving these guys enough room to breathe here. They're not going to lose that much. They still have enough points after this rotation.
That was a big play and something they definitely needed there. Going over on the 4 cap would have been absolutely tremendously detrimental. We'll see if they can pick this up and try and reclaim another capture now. It's still on the back foot, but there's potential here.
Yeah, they did get another kill over here and are creating a bunch of space. Blue kind of on the back foot on the eastern side, getting pushed towards the staircase as Red is using the numbers to their advantage. That makes me believe that there are probably some blue players who have the numbered advantage of their own. I'm going to take a look at the backside of center as, yes, it does look like Blue is trying to send some rats to the back lines. Nothing effective, though. Okay.
That's it. If you can't secure the cap in the meantime, it might be a little bit difficult.
Red is dominating over here on the eastern corner, though they have cleaned out most of the people defending the tower. There is a big battle on the staircase. Somebody's going to have to break through for Blue to interrupt this.
And we are turning over the cap, but I think it's going to get interrupted, and it was interrupted halfway through, so close to capturing it, but just not quick enough.
Great play by Brash, getting through, breaking through, walking around a firewall to get there. Red once again taking another opportunity to cap it. Jake 22 already has it over the top, but Brash again with the Raven, though, sacrificing his own life to get it, but he gets the cap in his favor. But it's now 3 people are going to cap that one, and they're gonna get that one with plenty of time before rotation. And that's 3 caps to 2 in favor of Red. Very close match. 105, 71. Yeah.
Yeah, so in 15 seconds here, as long as they can maintain this, which looks like they're going to be able to. I don't think this tank in here is not going to be able to do anything about it really in the middle there with that Wildfire Staff protecting. So 6 seconds, this is going to turn over, and it's going to be a little bit of an equalizer here to bring them closer together. Fantastic match so far, honestly.
Yeah, absolutely great back and forth match between these 2 teams. We saw them fight earlier, and now once again putting on a show.
Again, great damage clump there, great drop of damage, but those supports just picking everybody back up. The defensive rotations from either side have been fantastic tonight. Can see Bogle spectating there with some candles, or there we go. So now we have what do we have here on the choke here? So again, a pretty even split, nothing crazy happening. Huge damage combo, but again, we have that Guardian helmet come out, the support come out. The Great Axe just isn't going to drive home enough pressure. It looks like the Reds do have the number advantage here, and if they can get some flings off here, they might be able to isolate and kill someone. So Blue do have to be very careful here not to get zoned out too far. Red doing a great job of protecting this east corner.
Yeah, they are. They're playing really well right now. Defending 3 locations, pushing northeast. When they push northeast, it really does a great job of allowing them to protect center. But it seems that Blue took a very wide berth, went all the way around, and is now pushing center from the west. A lot of Red still here, creating enough distraction so they can't get time on the cap. And as I say that, one goes for it. Is anybody from Red going to get it? It looks like Lazan Haman is going to get it with a knee bash.
As you said, the map really breaks down into these 2 chokes, this west choke and the east choke. And if Red can push up here and hold this east choke and can have enough presence on the west side to protect whoever they have middle here looking after that point, and they can really hold on to the advantage they have. It does look like, however, they've pushed out of that east choke now, and Blue's getting a little bit of momentum here, and they are going to push him fully off here, and I don't think they have anything to stop this eastern cap. 9 seconds to go. It's a complete shame, unless this tank can get in, but he's being stalled.
Nope.
Is he going to cap it? And he recaps it. Absolutely terrible. It would have been amazing there if he could have got that interrupt just to tick over another point, but they lose it, and they're now down to 42 over 79.
Yeah, that is you have to pay attention to the timers. You have to pay attention to cap rotation. See where people are moving. It's important to have scouts. You can't put everybody in one location like that. And that is, I feel like that's going to be a big mistake. And that's going to cost them this round.
Yeah, he was there for it. He tried to get back, but we had to firewall, the geyser, all the knockups coming and just delaying him from getting over there. Just a little few seconds earlier, and he could have been there. But we'll have to see where we get from here.
Because at this point, Blue can just sacrifice to stop the cap.
Oh,
they do not need to worry about dying as much as the Red team. They can just sacrifice to hold these caps at this point with such a huge point advantage, and only needing 2 rotations or 1 solid rotation as they have now. If they can get 4 caps,
and that's the 4th cap right there in the middle,
and that will do it if they can hold it for 60 seconds.
And now we're back into this 2-choke scenario where we have them held up on the south choke here, keeping the Reds out from both the eastern point and the mid there from this side. So as long as the northwestern team can hold down there. Oh, and it does look, however, oh no, good trade of damage on both sides. We lost one from blue. Red's low, but the support's coming out.
They're playing too far forward on this. I really like it when they play a bit farther back and make the red team come up. And if they choose to go to the western cap, that's when you flood into this choke and sweep in from their backside, splitting them into 2 forces so that they can't hit you all at once. And that allows you, once you split their force, it really makes a much harder game for them to play. And if you choose to put yourself into choke, as blue has, going into choke and pushing forward like this, you put yourself at a disadvantage.
That's it. You really have to make use of those staircases there if you're on that southern choke. It's very dangerous to be back on there. And we just saw the wildfire stuff get flinged back. He rolled back, but then that was it. The tank stunned him, and we had to follow up there to keep him in place. But yeah, unfortunately, that's going to be game, set, match.
34-39. Red did have the advantage in kills, but it's all about the cap game. Really good plays there by Red, gaining those caps, playing the important positions when they needed to, and a few mistakes on both sides, I think, really turned the tide of this game overall.
It was a really great back and forth in that fight. I think, like you said, it comes down to those few key moments where you don't do something. It's often, I feel like, in 20v20, those acts of omission that lead to a loss.
Well, it's one of the, you have to be tactically aware in 20v20 at a level that is different than almost every other style of gameplay in Albion. Yeah, you have to be aware in ZVZ, but it's at a different level because you can lose a few stragglers in a ZVZ and still win because you have so many that the people who make the mistakes, it's not going to have a huge, import on your entire outcome. But in this one, you lose 3 guys because they're out of position, or you put them into the wrong position. 20 versus 17 is a big deal, and if it's a situation where it becomes a 7 versus 4 or something like that in one choke, you can really change the course of a match in ways you can't anywhere else. And that's why I like to see the rotations are very important. Scouting, rotations, and communications in 20v20 really lead to victories, and you can lose more.
It really is a cumulative problem too, because once you have someone go down and he's on that respawn timer and they're trying to come back out again, and then you get somebody else that goes down moments later and you get this staggered effect, and it becomes a real big issue for where you regroup, and you just lose pressure in that meantime. And like we said, it's all down to pressure and momentum, and losing ground. Every step back you have to take is another step you take closer to losing another point. So
absolutely. And overall, I want to give credit to both teams here. They did play some good matches between the two of them. Liked seeing it go back and forth. And we do have 3 more winners, though, for the raffle. So take a look in chat. And just like the guys over in the ZVZs, you can walk away with some prizes if you pay attention.
And is that I take it is the new Christmas mount that Bogle is showing off?
Yes, sir. That's the referral mod, yeah.
So you invite somebody into Albion, they get their first month's premium, and then you can end up with a lovely looking reindeer with candles to light up those cold nights in the Black Zone as you traverse around the gathering.
And your beard, as Bogle pointed out earlier.
Yeah, I was, sometimes if you expand on game logic, right? Imagine if you ride fast with that, man. And then you have a beard, and then these candles on there.
It's like risk. It's like, I mean, I'm be honest with you. I'm impressed that the candles managed to stay lit whilst going at full speed. I mean, I would have presumed that would have taken them out, but I guess everything's a little bit magic in the land of Albion.
Right. I mean, magic candles probably don't light up your beard unless you want them to, right?
Why would you want them to?
Yeah,
I mean, okay, whatever.
I mean, Blackbeard would dip the ends of his beard in oil and set them on fire so they slowly burned, so that he could light his the wick on his pistols.
True. Oh, the Chosen just potentially leaked the new Albion weapon line, guys.
There you go.
Combat beards.
Weapon lines.
Combat beards.
All right. We do have our winners. They are all set, and I believe that is the end of the show. Bogle, do we have any PSAs we need to get out of the way here before we head out for about 40 minutes?
Nothing super urgent. The other thing I can think of is that we will have a slightly larger break now before we go into the 5 versus 5 Crystal League show, which is the level 5, 6, and 7s tonight. But that is going to happen at approximately 20:25 UTC, which is in about 35 minutes from now.
Okay. I'm going to pull 2 more raffles because I see a lot of people have just gotten into the raffle a little late here, and we only had 1 person claim their prize. Everybody else, you guys are still eligible for prizes should you notice, but we are drawing 2 more.
So generous, so generous. Look at that. People drifting in late, still getting a chance to come in here and take part in the giveaways.
And those are our last 2 winners. Whisper me to claim your prize, and we will be back, like Bogle said, in about 35 minutes with more Crystal League content and more giveaways. So thank you guys for watching. Thank you, Nomad Poncho, for showing up today and dressing so well for the stream. Looking good, sir.
And you as always. And thank you guys for watching. Appreciate it.